Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I said that I am not a big fan of the transfer window, which I'm not. And I also said that until someone is holding up the shirt, again, I'm not really interested because it's all just rumour and innuendo and clickbait and so on. But it seems that we have been a little bit busy over the last week, just after I put that video out. And so there are a couple of things to talk about. So first one is Vicario coming in as the new goalkeeper. So I haven't seen anything about Hugo moving yet, but it would seem that that is likely now that we have brought a new keeper in. And I know all the comments around David Raya and how that didn't pan out, and there's a big argument going on about whether we've just taken the safe option, the cheap option, the second choice, or whatever it might be. But listen, only time's going to tell about that. So from my point of view, I'm like, okay, he's the new goalkeeper, if that's what's going to happen. And if he is the new goalkeeper, I'm going to give him as much support as I can, see how he pans out, and fingers crossed that he is the right player for us and the right fit, and he's going to have a good career with us. He's only 26, I believe, so there is an element of longevity in there as a player, which again is something that we need. It would be good to have some younger players coming in to give us something to kind of build upon, something to move forward. I don't know a lot about him. I don't watch Italian football, so I don't know whether he's a great player or not a great player. I've seen some of the videos, clips and stuff going around. So, but that's immaterial. It's all about what he does now and where he goes from here. So I'm not worried about what he's done in the past. What I'm interested in, what's he going to do in the future? How's it going to pan out? And if Postecoglou says that he's the right fit, the right sort of player for us, then if you're going to get behind the manager, then you've got to get behind the manager. He seems happy with that signing. So if he's happy with that signing, then why wouldn't I be happy with that signing? I'm just going to get behind it and see what happens. On top of that, we've also had James Maddison sign. £40 million sounds a really reasonable fee. Sounds something really good. Sounds like we've got him fairly on the cheap when you consider some of the other quotes going around and what other people are paying for other players in kind of similar midfield positions. So you've got to look at it and go, it's a positive. It's a real positive. Once again, it sounds like Postecoglou wants the player, is keen for the player, based on how he perceives the player's attitude and commitment, rather than his footballing ability, which says to me that he's looking at a mentality and at a group consensus, rather than this great player comes in and that's going to make all the difference, or so on and so forth. Now, a lot of Tottenham fans have been calling for Maddison for a very long time, so you've got what you want. You've got a player you want, someone we really wanted. So again, let's see how it pans out. I thought that he'd had a bit of a difficult season last season with injury, but I've been told that no, he played a fair amount of games last season and so on, and did particularly well. Can't say I really followed Leicester. I wasn't really interested in their season. I was more concerned about what was happening at Tottenham. But I understand that he was a key player for them, and when they were doing okay, it was because he was in the team and he was doing okay. Listen, again, it's the past. I'm not interested. Don't care about what happens in Leicester. I care about what happens at Tottenham and Tottenham going forward. So I guess the elephant in the room around all of this is all the quotes about him being an Arsenal fan and hating Tottenham and all the rest of it, when he was putting out tweets kind of 10 years ago when he was, 16, 15, 16, whatever it was. Okay, listen, if a certain football club can spend their whole season supporting an alleged rapist then I think I can kind of forgive him being a youthful anti-Tottenham fan. There are plenty of them out there. As far as I'm concerned, if he comes in and he does a professional job and he plays well and he puts his commitment into it, then that's all I can ask for. It doesn't matter to me who he supports in the longer term. If he's a professional and he's not influenced by that allegiance. Because let's face it, football players, whilst they might support a certain team, this is their living. This is how they earn their money. This is how they get their England caps or their international caps, whatever country they play for. It's how they earn their money. It's their bonuses. It's their livelihood and so on. So as long as when he's with us, he gives the commitment that he needs to give to be a great player for Tottenham, then I couldn't give a monkey's about his allegiance. He can go back to supporting them once he leaves in the same way that Darren Bent did or whatever. Because, you know, let's be honest, Serge Aurier, Arsenal fan, Matt Doherty, Arsenal fan. You know, it happens, you know, they're of that generation when Arsenal were good. So, you know, there'll be lots of players in the future that will be Man City fans because Man City are a good team at this moment in time. Everything as its cycle, you know. So listen, I really don't give a monkeys about that. I'm not really bothered. I'm interested in what he does in the future. But I guess the point of this is 2 good signings. It's what we're asking for. We needed someone to be a goalkeeper. We know that Hugo is likely to move on. We know that he's probably past his prime, past his best for us. It's difficult and it gets harder as you get older. So absolutely needed to replace that position. Whether it's the right one or not, time's going to tell. But at 17 million or whatever it was, sounds like a real steal. But it's only a steal if it really does the job. If it doesn't, then you've wasted 17 million of what could have been 40 million for David Raya, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see. Because there's no guarantees that if David Raya came, that he would have been a success for us. So, you know, you kind of have to, you know, weigh it up. And James Maddison coming in, central attacking midfield player, a position that we've been calling out for since Eriksen left. We've been far too reliant on coming down the wings and crosses coming in from players who can't cross a ball, which is a flaw in that strategy. But what do we need now? We definitely still need central defenders, in my opinion. We need 2 more positions as a minimum before we kind of go, okay, this window it gives me what I want. A rebuild will take time. It will take 3-4 windows before you actually see, and it's a continued thing. You can't just go, this window that's sorted it out, that window sorted it out. No, you need to constantly refresh, and that's where we fell down under Pochettino, is that we didn't refresh and we didn't keep adding and so on. If you look at the successful teams over the years, like Man United or Arsenal even, or Chelsea, they've always continually refreshed, continually turned over players. Same Man City now, they're continually refreshing, continually looking for the next opportunity, the next option. Because it's not just about the 11 on the pitch, it's about the squad and the depth that's going to allow you to continue. And okay, we don't really need the depth if you're only playing once a week. But if you really want to win trophies, you've got to have options, you've got to have opportunities. So I'm not saying you can't play wingers putting the ball in the box, because someone like Harry Kane will bury them. But what I'm saying is you need the other option of someone, a playmaker, who's going to unlock a difficult low block, which we've struggled with all season last season. So 2 good signings, 2 more definitely needed. I guess we're going to have to kind of see what happens with Udogie coming in. Is that going to unlock that left back position? Don't know. By all accounts, there's lots of teams that are after him in Italy and would happily take him on. But if it's coming back to us, then let's see how that pans out. Sergio Reguilon has come back. Lots of other players obviously come back, but you've still got the players like Basuma and Bentancur coming back into contention as they get over their injuries, and hopefully Son will have a better season because his injury will be behind him. I have to call out the hate against Eric Dyer. I've seen some terrible tweets from some guy who's encouraging people that go to the ground to turn their back on 15 minutes to show the club what we think of Eric Dyer. And I'm like, wow, can you imagine doing that? Like, what, why would you subject a fellow human to that kind of level of abuse over football? Eric Dyer may not be my first choice player. He may not be good enough for Tottenham. He may not be where I want our club to be. But at the same time, he is still a Tottenham player. He is still under contract. And more knowledgeable people in football than me have decided to stick with him and keep playing him. So, I'm sorry, but I really think that's an appalling thing. And I might, people might say, give me some abuse about it. Perhaps, I don't know what you think. It's up to you to think what you want. And like I continually say, this is about opinions. Football is all about opinions. Whether you think it's the right signing, the wrong signing, good system, bad system, all of that. That's what makes it interesting and why people want to watch videos like this and talk about football on the whole, right? But for me, I think that kind of behaviour towards a player of your own is really, really, not on. It's just, for me, it's diabolical behaviour, and I won't have anything to do with it, to be honest. Which leads me on to talking about Harry Winks, who has now left us and gone to Leicester for £10 million now. Harry Winks is a lifelong Tottenham fan, brought up in Hemel Hempstead, which is actually quite lots and lots of Arsenal fans around there. Anyway, and he's moving on. And again, it gets a fair bit of abuse and all the rest of it. And now listen, have things turned out how Harry Winks and Tottenham fans would have wanted it to? No. Has he been good enough over the last few years? No, he hasn't. We can all see that. Okay, sometimes these things don't work out, and I personally wish him all the very best with Leicester. I think it's a good move for him. Gets him into a top team in the Championship. Will give him the opportunity to play regular football and hopefully get back to some of the level that he was at when he first got into the Tottenham team. Something that you and I have never even had the opportunity to do. So he's obviously better than you and I at playing football. So I wish him all the luck in the world. I hope it works out okay for him, except when they eventually come back and play against Tottenham. But people, saying things like good riddance to bad rubbish and things like that, I think that's really a bit disrespectful to a guy who did have a lot of promise. And you've only got to go back a few seasons to look at how he was playing. To say, there was some ability in there. Maybe he lost his way. Maybe he was poorly coached. Maybe he was in a poor system. Maybe it just wasn't to be. So we allow him to move on, and hopefully things will get better for him. The final thing I wanted to say was a thank you to everybody who has recently subscribed to my channel. I was sitting on 1,490 subscribers for a very long time, and it went up a bit, and then it went down a bit, and then it went up a bit, and it went down a bit, and then finally, after going on Chris Cowling's show on I think it was Wednesday, I don't know, I called it out that I was like 9 away from having 1,500 subscribers. You answered the call and gave me that amount, and that's really it's really pleasing for someone like me. Listen, I'm under no illusions. I'm the wrong side of the demographic that do videos and YouTube, and I'm not trying to be the next big thing. But what I like to do is I like to chat Tottenham. I like to give my opinion, and I like to interact with people. So it's great to have you all on board. I hope you stay. I hope you enjoy the videos that I do over the coming season. But please do comment. Because if you comment, I get try to get some interaction and build some relationships with you guys. I think liking is a big thing, helps the algorithm, and and again, at this moment in time, still, I think it's something like, when I looked at the analytics, it's something like over 60% of people that watch my videos don't actually subscribe to the channel, which is you know, it's up to you. But if you would subscribe, that obviously helps even more to generate interest in what I'm saying, and more interaction and so on. And I really enjoy that. So yeah, so just a big thank you for and welcome to those people that have recently subscribed. You may have been watching before, but just never hit the button before. So thanks for that. And thanks for Chris for allowing me to go on his show and plug my little channel. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. We'll see what we can talk about over the next week or so with any other signings that come in, any other outgoings, which is probably the biggest thing we need to see, is a bit of a clear out of some of those players that we don't see as part of our future. So fingers crossed we can see some of that as well, making space and finance available for us to bring in the next batch, the next group of players that will hopefully at some point take us somewhere where we can be proud of our football team again, and really enjoy the football that we see. Anyway, till the next one, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again. Up the Spurs.